Hey everybody, welcome back to Roy's Bites.
Hello.
And Patrick released a plugin, a networking
Yeah,
plugin.
for Godot, my first one. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
and so talk me through the process. What was it like making a plugin?
So I didn't start out wanting to make a plugin. I initially was working on our Godot multiplayer tutorial series, and I looked at like the networking solutions and all that stuff, and I went, they don't do what I want. They either are tied to a service like Steam, like you can only use them with Steam, or they force you to use a very rigid architecture, like forcing state sync and rather than, individual updates. And I also didn't like the Godot built-in stuff. So like you either have the multiplayer synchronizer and the multiplayer spawner, and I didn't like either of those at
Yeah,
all. And or you just are using raw RPCs and nothing else is done.
yeah,
So I was just like, okay, well, for this tutorial series, I want to teach like multiplayer, but at this, like, if I want to teach it right, you kind of have to build this library up that handles ownership and everything. If or you're gonna just have a ton of spaghetti, just like an
yes.
absolute ton of spaghetti.
As every game eventually turns into.
Yeah,
It
every
happens
game does,
every
but I was
time.
like, I was like, if you, I'm teaching multiplayer, I don't want to teach spaghetti for
Yeah,
multiplayer. It's hard enough as is to know what's going on. I
yeah,
don't want to actually make it just an absolute spaghetti mess. So I was like, okay, well, I am going to quickly build a library in this tutorial series, and then we'll be good. I'll just teach it quickly, and we're fine.
yeah,
And so I was working on the research for building this little mini library that we were going to do for our series. And I kept being like, okay, well, I need to add this, and I need to add this, and I need to add this. And I do use AI encoding sometimes, specifically when I want to look over my code. I kind of use it as like a
a
code
sanity
reviewer.
checker. Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah. So I was like, well, I want this code to be good. It's networking, so I would put it in the code that I'd already written and be like, can you look over this? And it started, it would be like give suggestions, but like let's be honest, it's AI. 90% of the suggestions are garbage. Just
yes,
absolute garbage.
yes,
But eventually it started just being like, give me the GitHub link so I can start this repo. And I was like, I am doing this for a tutorial series. And it was like, yeah, but when that tutorial series is done, put it on GitHub so I can start the repo. I want this.
okay, and
Which,
so that kind of gave
which,
you an idea that the Godot community's been like, where is this thing at?
yeah. So it started being a bug, like doing a little bug in my ear of like, okay, they want this. And I started thinking along that path. And so what I do is so that I don't like kind of poison it is I do a temporary chat each time
Yes.
so that it doesn't have any memory of my other chats with it. And it started being every single time it would say, give me the GitHub link so I can start the repo. And so after it did it a few times, I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to like clean this up and make it a proper add-on for Godot once the series is done.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what started the journey of
I
me
find it funny
taking this.
that the add-ons released before the series has concluded.
Like the series is completely recorded.
It's
It's ready to
recorded.
come
It's
out.
just slowly coming out. But at this point, we're gonna have to do more series to
For
build
just
up
the Easynet.
for just Easynet. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're talking
I was
about
thinking
me
that.
doing a card game series because
Yep.
everyone in Godot wants to make a card game. I don't know why.
They really do.
I
There's
don't.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's always those specific games that someone wants to make for their like in an engine. It's like that's the first game someone wants to make, and Godot, it seems like that's a card game, which is really cool.
It is cool. So could go over things like making a lobby or something.
I wonder if Balatro has had a lot to do with that too.
I think Balatro, like, is Balatro multiplayer? I haven't played it.
No, it's not.
But then there's things like Legends of Runeterra, Hearthstone. None of these are active anymore, really. I haven't heard of
Yeah,
Hearthstone in a hot minute, but I think it's just something where there's a lot. I think there's just a passionate community behind it.
very, very passionate. But yeah, so you're gonna potentially be working on that, and yeah, so I built like the example project in it, and you're gonna be doing the example project card game.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I want to like do a bunch of more tutorials and have
Right.
so many more ideas for the library.
Okay, scene management's one that you asked
Yeah.
me to do, and
Mhm.
because I didn't like how Fishnet nor Mirror handled scene management. I thought they were
Oh, I
both pretty bad.
despised it. Whereas I really,
they're
really
pretty
liked
bad.
Forge's.
Yeah,
Forge's system was super
I
nice.
wish I worked in Forge more. It sounds like a wonderful thing. I did some scene management for the not the Easynet, but for the our previous networking content, which I did, and it was just a nightmare in Godot. I didn't do tons, but it was just like spawning things and stuff, and I hated using their spawner.
Well, and in Godot, there's this special challenge of you need to have the path of the node be correct for the RPCs to send out properly.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that actually a little bit. When we were testing, Tate and I were running into some bugs, and that's what the issue was. Is the node path wasn't correct.
Oh, jeez.
Whenever I was testing on my local machine, it was creating the node paths the same way.
Yeah.
But then for some reason over the network, it was creating like node at 3 for me and node at 4 for you.
Oh, yeah.
And so I started having to make a system, not an amazing system, I'll admit, to spawn the nodes in a normal way where they'll have the same path each time. And it's an overridable way, so depending on your game, you know, you can do it.
I get the feeling Easynet's kind of built with the expectation that you might modify it to your needs.
Oh, it's built entirely, like everything is made to be overridden.
Yeah.
So I've got a networker class, which returns your multiplayer peer. So it's got two functions, host and connect. And those will just return multiplayer peers. That's entirely overridable if you want to use like a Steam networker, Epic Online networker, you want to do WebSockets, you want to do WebRTC, you want to do Easynet. It'll handle all of it. You just have to extend the networker class. Yeah. And you can just swap that out and the rest of your code changes. It's super simple, super clean, super easy.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to personally ask you is, so did you read from text files? Because how you did synchronous variables is you just put sync underscore in front of them, right?
Yeah.
So what did you do in GD script to do that?
In GD script, you can, of a class, you can get the property list and it'll return a dictionary of like all the properties in the class.
Oh.
And you can do get. So then you can do the class dot get and then put in this property name that you got from that list and then pull that and that'll give you the value. And then that class dot set will set the value. So that's what I did for the sync value because I looked into making decorators, but that wasn't even part of the GD add-on system for C++.
Yeah, because the way I was looking at it, I was like, did this guy write some C++ to do this? Because... You know, that's essentially that the idea is like that is you don't have to, but I thought with the limitations of GD, that might be a scripting change.
Yeah,
to do
I thought so too initially, but it was actually fairly simple. And then I just update the dirty sync vars every tick. Yeah, is what I'm doing. And a dirty sync var, by the way, is any variable that's changed. Yeah. So I cache all the names of the variables with the name sync underscore and then whatever after that, and then I check to see if they're the correct type. Because you can't send all the types across the network. So I looked up what Godot's binary serializer can serialize, and I assume that's what they send over the network is binary serialized stuff. And then I check if it's the types that are compatible with the binary serializer, and then I add those to the cache list. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
if you guys want to check out Easynet, you could go in the asset library, you can just launch the Godot engine, go to asset, search Easynet, or it's on the homepage right now as we're talking. I don't know if that's because it's new, or because people are actively downloading it.
I was looking at the dates of everything on there, and they were all like,
oh, okay, so maybe the asset library is not particular, but check it out. And we will be doing content to support this.
Seems like people on Bluesky were pretty excited. It seems that there's a need in the Godot community for a generic solution.
We've already gotten a Discord user on the Easynet Discord. And
yeah, so we'll have a Discord where
there's a Discord. Again, look at the description.
Yes.
We have a Patreon. We didn't cover any of
that's
this
the other
stuff.
thing.
We have a Patreon, and the entire networking series is on there, and all series will be on there day one, and then slowly rolled out onto our YouTube channel for free, and then eventually probably compiled into a big video.
But if you want the series right away, there's that, and then there will be also a Roya's Discord for like specifically Roya's tutorial stuff.
Yeah.
That's also part of the Patreon. What else is there? There's
The project files are all on the Roy's Discord. Or
project
most of
files.
them. The vast majority, because that's the thing we kept getting requests for, is where are the project files? And
so anytime we make a tutorial, the project files will go up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that covers that. That's like the house cleaning stuff. We kind of just slapped it in the middle, I guess. But so you've taken a look at Easynet. What's your thoughts overall? Because you've done multiplayer stuff, I've done multiplayer stuff.
I haven't
really talked too much over.
We didn't talk too much, and I haven't taken that close of a look at it. It's kind of been like I've skimmed a little bit and I'm going, oh yeah, that seems interesting. That seems interesting. I've yet to write any code for it. And
fair.
That's going to be the that's when I'm going to be able to give a proper opinion on it, and I think it'll be good because I think you have good taste in networking. Which
I
is
think
a weird...
you and I share a lot of like similar ideas.
Yeah, I wonder why. But
we've both suffered in Mirror.
We both suffered in Mirror. I've suffered in Fishnet. We both suffered in Fishnet.
Yeah, we both suffered in both.
You lived in the Forge land.
Where everything's happy.
So do you think there's a potential of this ballooning into, like, say, Unreal Online, where it's like, this is just the de facto?
I'm hoping so. I want to make this MMO grade eventually. So right now, Godot has 2 RPC options. They have RPC ID, where you can send an RPC to a specific player, and then they have just RPC where it sends it to everybody.
Yeah.
I would like to build a proximity system or an interest management system where you have rooms, lobbies, all that stuff, and then you have a function that you can send RPC proximity or whatever, and it only sends it to people who are in your lobby, only people in your rooms, only people who are within proximity, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I want to have a system kind of like the networker where you just extend it to based on your type of interest management.
So that is actually... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's actually something specifically for the rooms I was going to do for the scene management. Because basically, that's just scene management in Godot.
True.
So...
But, yeah. So what I want to do is have like an interest management class that you can override, kind of like the networker. And then, based on the type of your game's needs, have that in there. Have it kind of handle automatically, and have a function that passes in a transform and your network ID. And so then, like, for lobbies and stuff, you'll only need your network ID, same with rooms. And then for like proximity and stuff, it'll do like all the quad tree, oct tree, all those kind of trees, whatever you need for proximity.
So here's the takeaway. There's still a long way to go, but if you want something to just speed up your network development, it's already there for that.
It's a really good...
You'll have to write less network code, because you tried to make it as much of... You don't write network code in your scripts, right?
Yeah. Yes. And I tried to also make it very unopinionated. I wanted to kind of give you enough to like do whatever you wanted and whatever structure you wanted. Whereas Mirror and Fishnet are very structured frameworks where it's like, you do it this way, you do it this way, you do it this way. Whereas Forge was just... I don't care.
You do it whatever. I don't care, dude. So
yeah,
that is gonna have to be something I take into account when I make the scene manager. Because I generally, when I write things, it's structured. It's this way or the highway. You're not doing more with this, but
yeah. I luckily got some experience making unstructured libraries before in our job. I started making some libraries for that. Yeah, and then I've taken those learnings and pass them on to Easynet. So I'm excited to like work with you on stuff, because I'm really excited about the interest management stuff, because in an MMO you don't need a room system. No. And in like uh room-based game, you don't need a proximity check system, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's why.
there's one thing we could have a huge advantage over Mir and Fishnet in,
Mhm,
and it's the fact that
mhm.
you can compile Godot to double
True.
accuracy.
Yes.
And so like you could have way bigger worlds. Like you could do a Star Citizen potentially then.
Oh, you can. Yeah.
Or a
That'd be
big
cool.
Minecraft or something. Or well, I guess Minecraft doesn't matter, but you could go a lot bigger with it. No Man's Sky or something.
Yeah, I would be interested to actually test this multiplayer library on the voxel version of Godot.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I haven't. I've done a little bit in the voxel version, but not too much. And then I wrote my own voxels. So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what we do. We just write our own.
Yeah, which Godot's getting to a point where it's like it's time to not roll your own as much, I guess.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a little bit more done for you. And
Well,
I'm
it's
hoping
just
that
games need to come out because in Unity, or sorry, not in Unity, in Unreal, so much is done for you.
Mhm.
Like so
Yeah.
much is done for you, and so that's
Well,
why
and
games just
Unity
come
also
out.
has lots of libraries too.
Unity has
That
a
just
lot of libraries, but
tons.
Unreal just in with Blueprint, tons is done.
Yeah.
Just massive
Uh,
amounts, and so I think Godot kind of needs the libraries of Unity.
yeah. And I definitely get with the online multiplayer stuff. Godot, again, let's just be honest. The RPC system was too bare bones for most people. It was a
Yeah.
big, daunting task. And the network sync and the network spawn just didn't cover, I feel, like 90% of online games needs. And then a lot of devs don't want to lock their net code to a single entity like Steam or host a single hosting service.
Because if you release on Steam and then you have an itch version, too bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And yeah, if you want to like get a lot of beta testers on itch or something before you release on Steam, well, then you can't do your Steam net code. And then if that changes everything, that kind of sucks.
Obviously, we do know that you can connect to Steam. It's just it for a
Mhm.
tester. At least in my experience, you only have their interest for such a short time.
Yes.
And it's usually like specifically for an online game, it's like 20 minutes, and you don't
Yeah.
want to have to do 20 minutes of tutorial of getting them set up in Steam.
'Cause they would be
Or if someone
upset.
buys the game, I don't think they want 20 minutes of setup in Steam. So
No,
we are aware that you can. It's just it's
you
a
can.
pay.
And you don't want to waste your precious tester's attention span. Because also some people just see, oh, I have setup. Okay, I uninstall.
Yeah,
Done.
I'm done. I'm not testing this for you anymore. Goodbye.
Yeah, well, I remember when I released Thick for the Next Fest on Steam, and there was that pop-up that was like controller required.
Yeah.
And I had something like 20,000 downloads. 12 of them had controllers plugged in. And so
Right.
everyone just got to that and exited out of the game
And then
immediately.
uninstalled, and that was the unfortunate end of that.
Yeah, it was just oh no. This went so badly. People were interested. 20,000 downloads. I think if I remember, I looked at the numbers and it was one of the high. It was like in the higher end of the downloaded games for that Next Fest. And I
Yeah.
did zero marketing for it, by the way. So it did like so well on the downloads. And then 12 people actually played it because they had controllers plugged in.
Yeah, and it was an online multiplayer game. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, that was
that was
unfortunate.
I remember looking at those numbers just going, I shouldn't have made it controller only. I
There
should
you
have found
go.
out not to make...
There's a learning for people watching it. Don't
Yes.
make your games work with mouse and keyboard because most people don't have controllers on computer apparently.
Yes, surprisingly few. I thought, oh, I have pretty much always had a controller for my computer. Good to go.
Well, I thought everyone had like at least an Xbox 360 controller laying around.
Just sitting around. Yeah.
And
that's
or an
not the
Xbox
case.
One, because you can get those for like $20. Like a cheap third-party one is like 10 to 20. And so many games like Dark Souls kind of require a controller. They're really built for it, but guess not.
But yeah, you just can't assume people have either the peripherals or the technical skills for, I guess, the setup of something like Steam, or the time. And so yeah, just kind of make it as seamless as possible.
Okay,
And that's kind of what I'm trying.
Yeah, this
That's
has
what
been
we're
a
trying to do at
tangent.
It has a tangent and a half.
All right, I think we're basically good to go.
I think so.
All
Any
right, I got no final
Oh,
remarks.
yes, I do want to say, since we built the core of Easynet, there's been some changes, but we've built the core of Easynet in the multiplayer series. I'd be more than happy for people to contribute. They know how the code generally works from the YouTube series. And so I would be more than happy for people to contribute and add their ideas to Easynet on GitHub.
Yeah, and if you do submit a pull request, we have kind of a rule to be kind, not condescending. So we're not gonna attack you. Worst we can say
Yes.
is no, and we will just give you the reasons why and encourage you to come back. Essentially.
Yeah, it's just a learning opportunity.
Yeah, it's a learning opportunity. Don't worry about it.
Our community is learning first, and I really want to push that hard. We are learning first. Easynet's just like a fun thing we're doing on the side because it seems like there's a demand for it.
Yeah. So
and yeah,
feel free to join the Discord, chat with us, submit some pull requests. Show off your games. If you make a game, show us. That'd be so cool.
That would be super dope. And yeah, then you can also say on a resume, "Hey, I submitted to this open source project. It's really cool."
Yeah,
good for you.
All right, I think that's basically all we have.
Yeah.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks. Bye.